Good day, everybody. My name is Zephyr, and welcome to this video. Thank you for watching. So the Steam hardware and software survey of October 2022 came out. I want to say it was last night. Not 100% certain if it came out last night, but I'm pretty sure it came out last night. Um, because October just finished yesterday, was November 1st. Anyways, on this channel, we often talk about computer upgrades, what should be your upgrades, things like that. And I think this is a really good opportunity for me to justify why I don't often recommend people buy things like 3080s and 4080s and 4090s and 3090s. Now, if you have the money to throw around to do those kinds of things, you have every right to purchase whatever you want. I view graphics cards and things like that as I guess semi investments, but this graph will give you a pretty good idea of where the video game landscape is in tandem to consoles and how game developers will push out games moving forward. Of course, some developers don't follow this standard. In fact, quite a few publishers don't follow the standard. So, with everything, take it with a grain of salt. But it is just there for reference to understand a little bit more. So let's get into what I'm talking about by jumping into. Why does it do this? I just updated this. That's so weird. No, that's correct. Why? I did update last night. So, as I've mentioned in the past, as long as you have DirectX 12 right now, you're sitting pretty. DirectX 12 is just the newest form of DirectX. I think it's about 2 years old now. Anyways, surprisingly, if we go by percent share, well, you can actually go by item name if you want, but I'm not sure if that's going to be, yeah, that's not going to be as good. So percent share, you will see the most owned GPU on Steam as of October, and you see it winding down. So there must have been this big growth period here, and then people sold it to upgrade, probably to the 2060 lineup. As we can see, that continuously grew, but there was a 91.91% increase across Steam of people using the 2060. I'm guessing the 1650 is also very popular because it comes in quite a few pre-built computers, but a lot of people seem to be selling off or not utilizing their 1650. So a lot of people gaming on laptops, surprisingly. Seems to be a pretty solid growth and then a pretty solid drop off across here. Not sure if that correlates to a video game release or something like that, where these aren't running that. But as you can see, there's no 3 series 80 cards. The 70 here is a really powerful card, and we're seeing that grow in popularity as well as modern video games are pushed to require more higher gaming fidelity, higher standards. So that's really interesting to see. So these are the people who really just want that extremely high frame rate and things like that. They might be streaming. So here we finally get to the 3080 way down here. You can see it's actually up by 13%, which actually isn't that surprising, but is not utilizing a massive market. It's actually only 1.82% in comparison to a 1060 currently at nearly 8% and growing according to this, as well as the 2060, which I always say you don't need a 3080. You don't need something of that high power. People like myself purchase a 3080 because I'm a streamer, I'm a video editor, I do a lot of Photoshop, I have multi-monitor, I'm used to multi-monitor. So that's really interesting to see. So if you're really out there taking in this graph and you're looking at this graph, or you might even be wondering, why do they put this kind of stuff out there? This gives people like myself a baseline of the future of video game titles. So if I want to stream something moving forward, what are game developers going to be looking at in order to figure out how powerful their game could be? How many vectors can they have? How many polygons can they have? What shading can they have? How many smoothing layers, filter layers, how much ambient occlusion, explosions, particle effects, that kind of stuff. This is what they're going to be looking at. And moving into 2023, it seems like the majority consensus is going to be mid-market cards from the last 5 years or so. Of course, we're going to see games that like a 3080 might not be able to run at maximum tilt. And technically, we're already seeing that with like Resident Evil Village. If you want to stream Resident Evil Village and you want to max that game out, you actually can't put all the sliders to the right, um, because with the streaming and with the game, um, you'll just run your GPU super hot. So as we go down, we see 1050s, which is a shame. It's not a good card in my opinion at all, but it does hold a 4.39, which is pretty crazy. And I don't think anything else really holds the market. If we scroll down, as you can see, of course we're still going to have people running their 980s. That's not anything new. So this is under the category of all video cards. You can then go down to the DirectX 12s, and again, we can see of the DirectX 12 cards, it's 1060, 2060, 1650, 3060. You don't see the 3080 until you're way down here at the 1.92. And we're seeing no 4 series cards, which is not surprising. It's probably super minor at this point. Probably only a few people own 4090s, but you can see even 1080 Ti's at only 0.74%. I know a lot of people get super freaked out when they want Steam wants to scan your system and let them know what you have to create this data set. Because I mean, we can go through this, and I doubt this equals up to 100, and you're never gonna get to 100 anyways. And as you can see, there is 14%, which we don't know about. But flipping through this graph, I would say, if you trust other people and what their opinions are, of course, you could always jump over here, especially if you're not looking to spend $1,700, $1,000, $800. A 1060 on eBay. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. $100, $70, $75 ish. $100, $100, 75, 70, $80. So, I mean, if you already have a solid computer, or you just have like a desktop that you want to slot something into, a 1060 seems like a really good card, especially because there's a lot of them on the market and it's still being utilized by more people. Red just upgraded to a 1060. Like, they're being utilized by a large margin of the community. 2060 is in the exact same percentage. Needle Leak, one of the people I stream with, he uses a 2060. 1650, leading the way in the community. I sell 1650s hand over fist. I buy 1650 computers, I tear them down, rebuild them so that way they have less bottlenecks, and they sell like you wouldn't believe. The 1650 is an absolutely incredible card when it comes to budget modern. Um, you run FSR aftermarket with a 1650, you're sitting pretty if you get Magpie here. You run that on top of that card, and it's going to run phenomenally. So yeah, I'll put the link down in the description to check this out for yourself. If you have any questions and things like that, of course, there's tons of communities for that. I don't mind answering some questions. But this, I found this super fascinating. I thought for sure the 3080, 1080, and 2080 would be much higher on the list, but as you can see, it's 2070, 2070, 3070, 2060 Super. Like, I there's the 3080 Ti, there's the 2080 Super, all the way down here in the point 0.7 range. The 1080 Ti being even lower. I mean, what is a 1080 Ti these days? That's not bad. That's actually a really nice one. Chris, one of the people I stream with, he uses a 1070 Ti Seahawk. Super cool card. These prices aren't that bad either. I mean, they're up there. They're pretty high. But I don't recommend anybody use Userbench as a definitive comparison ever. It's just useful for getting general information. But if we go ahead and take a look at the top two, we could do a quick comparison here. 1060 to 2060. It's about a 50% uptick, roughly 40, a round down. This is what I was basing it off of. But yeah, super interesting. I'm happy that these come out. I like to know where I fall in the community's buying consensus if I've made a different buying decision. I mean, I'm sure a lot of these are pre-built, 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 laptop, maybe custom upgrades, but really expensive pre-built. I mean, you can actually get all of the data sets and you can find out for certain. Like if you look at like the mass sales report of things like Omen PCs, the things like Alienwares, things like that. If you look at the mass sheet, you can conclude on correlation where these kind of chips are coming from and what user base is typically buying that, but I'm pretty sure these are pre-builts, 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 maybe not pre-builts, probably pre-builts, probably not pre-builts, probably not pre-builts, probably not. Insane how many NVIDIAs are on top here. This doesn't surprise me here. 0.8% of the community is still using RX 570s. Love the RX 570, incredible card. People are still using 16 or 750 Ti's. I mean, this card seriously does not belong here. By Now, when I say that, I mean by the bell curve of computers and how things upgrade. The 750 Ti has long outperformed itself. It's an absolute beast of a card. It is a titan. You cool that thing, you water cool that thing. This card is still running great to this day. Red had it running Cyberpunk 2077 at launch. Absolutely incredible card for pennies, if I'm not mistaken. Like you can get 750 Ti's. I'm not recommending you get 750 Ti. I think those days are long behind us. Yeah, $10. Like if you're super broke, if you're like super broke, buying a 750 Ti that's the one I had. Isn't the worst decision. You're not gonna get the greatest gaming, but you're gonna get pretty solid gaming with a 750 Ti. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to show you that. If you found that useful, hit the subscribe button. I like talking about tech, showing off tech. I think this stuff is really interesting. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to correlate and take a look at. So, yeah, have a wonderful day.